Hello, welcome to another live. Here I am every Monday, and we have this class, this free class where you can tune in and ask all the questions. If you have any questions about NLP, about emotions, about anxiety, about numerology, about embodiments, all the questions. Like here you have this space where you can get some free coaching, because not everyone can afford the one-on-one sessions or not able to join the workshops when I do workshops, whether that's in Barcelona or online. And here you have these classes every week. So welcome, hello, thank you for joining. And in today's class, I wanted to, first of all, well, there's this space where if you have any questions, you can ask questions, and I can offer some insight in terms of my area of expertise, which is NLP and working with numerology. Though, as with anything, like you literally just like take what resonates. And if anything that I mentioned doesn't resonate, then that's totally okay. There's many different methodologies out there and different ways of going about things. So I can only share from my experience and what I've seen that works with like myself and with clients. And yes, and this is the space to do that. And today I wanted to talk about these. Some of you have these, some of you don't. Some of you may know these, some of you may not. So these are some cards that I made, and they're actually in the second batch now, because the first batch sold out and I made another batch. And so many people love these, and they're really wonderful, like reflection cards. And I've done a live on them before, but I thought this is just such a wonderful way to start a conversation and start diving into topics at a deeper level. So I will pick some cards and then I will discuss them a bit further. And yes, of course, like if you have any questions, just ask away. So I'm going to pick a card, and today what I invite you to do is like just notice, do these messages resonate with you? Do you feel that these messages are something that are what you're dealing with at the moment, that you can find beneficial at the moment? Or if not, that's fine too. But perhaps there's some insight here. So I will pick one now, and then I can see which message pops up for today. Okay, so this is the first card that comes up. The magic pill that you were looking for underneath everything is love. Not romantic love, simply love and gratitude for all you have and are already. So when you hear that, what do you notice? What pops up? This is a big one, and I've seen this so many times in 11 years, like working in the coaching NLP fields, that there's a lot of focus on goal setting and like needing to get somewhere, needing to clear all the limiting beliefs, needing to do this, do that, like always like constantly looking forward, which can be a wonderful thing. Like we want to not remain stuck or keep focusing on the past. We want to grow forward in life. But sometimes when there's too much of an emphasis on that, what can happen is that people are missing the present moment. They're missing the present moment and the gifts that we have already. And so often, I've seen this time and time again, like so often what people want, they have already in some form in their life already. Not with every single thing, but the vast majority of things. Like, for example, people want love, and perhaps they think it needs to come in a certain way, and they want it in a certain way, and it needs to be packaged a certain way. And then when someone comes along and offers them love in the form of giving a compliment, then they'll just like dismiss it or say, oh, no. Or like, for example, like a really simple example, someone compliments you on your clothing. You say, oh, this old thing. Or people compliment you on something that you've made or you've created, or that something that you've done or said. And you'll be like, oh, no, that's nothing. And when we do that, when we dismiss a compliment, we're essentially pushing away love right there. So there are many different ways that we do this, that we overlook what we have already, and that we have so many things. Like, for example, money. Yes, that's a real a real example that many people are struggling with at the moment. And there may be struggles with money. There may be people finding challenging with work or paying the bills or got mortgages or blah, 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 got kids to feed. There can be real struggles there. And also, where is the money coming in already? There's something there coming in. And are we fully present with that? And are we grateful for that? So it's love and gratitude for everything that we have already. And this is something that is a constant reminder that it's very easy to forget this because society is so focused on the next, the next. I mean, what do we do with social media when we're scrolling? It's like we're being rewired, literally. Our minds are being rewired thanks to social media to literally like have this habit of always going on to the next, wanting the next, looking for something new, next thing, scrolling, swiping, rather than being present. And this is why so many people are finding it really difficult to just simply be and pay attention to what is. And I've certainly noticed this at times as well, that there have been times where I found it really challenging, and noticing how when there's a lot of use of social media, phone, different applications, or I'm too focused on goals and goal setting, I'm missing the gifts in the present moment. And that magic pill that so many people are looking for is simply just being in the present moment, being present with what is, and having love and gratitude for what is, whether that's in our environment or within ourselves as well. So that's one card. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, if there's something in your life at the moment, like just take a look around your surroundings, wherever you are, whether you're on the bus or walking or at work or at home. Just like take a little look around your surroundings right now and just notice what's present. What are you noticing? What's present? What gifts are there? And I love to hear some of those in the comments section. If there are any gifts that you're aware of, even if it is simply just being able to breathe some air, some oxygen, being able to listen to this video, being able to sit down or stand up or whatever you're doing at the moment, whether you're walking. There are always things that we can be grateful for. And this is a great reminder, and certainly one that I could do with reminding myself as well today. It's been a very full day with a lot of activity and a lot of to-do lists, and it's a great reminder to come back to the present moment. So let me know what you're grateful for in the comment section. Let's spread the love, because it's actually been proven scientifically. There have been studies where when we listen to shares from other people, when we hear other people being grateful, it actually helps us to feel grateful as well. Like, it helps us to generate that feeling within. And gratitude is all about the feeling. It's not about, like, when people have gratitude practices and they say, oh, you need to list like 10 things you're grateful for every day, or 5 things, and like write it down in your journal all the time. That's completely useless if you don't tap into the feeling. It's the feeling that's important. And we connect to the feeling by connecting to the details of it. So getting clear, like, it's not just like, oh, I've got a chair, I'm grateful for a chair. I mean, yeah, I'm grateful for a chair, but then also it's like, wow, I'm so grateful. I have a moment where I can just like feel that support from the chair. Take a lovely inhale and exhale and really feel that support. Then I'm able to tap into the feeling much more. So here are some messages. Yeah, so when there are disagreements and when there are in relationships, there can be moments where you realize that, yeah, you're grateful for each other. Yeah, absolutely grateful for each other, and recognizing that, and that each person is a mirror in these relationships, whether that's a family member, whether that's a loved one, that each person is a mirror and a teacher. So keep sharing what you're grateful for in the comment section if anyone hasn't messaged yet. And I will pick another card to discuss. And let's go with this one. Okay, this is the one that's come up. If you want connection, create connection. If you want love, give love. Be the light you wish to see in the world. Now, this is along the similar lines of one of the famous quotes by Gandhi, I think it was, like, be what you wish to see in the world. And this is the thing, like, so often we're looking out there, pointing the finger and saying, like, oh, it needs to be like this. Again, it's the same as the first card. It's like the focus is somewhere else other than ourselves in the present moment. And this one is very much talking about ourselves. It's like, okay, if we want to see a change, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's in a situation, whether that's in our life, it's up to us to do something about it. Because if we're just hanging there, like waiting around, like, oh, when my partner does that, then I'll be happy. Or when I get more, fill in the blank, then I'll be happy. Like when I get more money, or when I get another job, when I have my house, when I have this, like looking into the future and really like, when I blah, 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 then I'll be happy. Or then things will be good. But when we start bringing the attention to, like, okay, what can I do right here, right now? Like, what can I do? And really recognizing that we are the ones that are influencing and co-creating with life. Like, we're creating our experience in life at the moment. And it's up to, like, when we realize that, it's like we're taking back our power and we're recognizing our strength and our power. And then we're not just like being victims of life. Because yes, there can be certain situations and certain things that we may want to bring into our life. I mean, I'm not saying not to have goals. Goals can be great, like outcomes, like have a desired outcome. That can be wonderful. Though by recognizing, okay, it's up to me to bring that in. And it's like a two-way thing. It's like knowing where you're going, knowing what you want, take action towards that, and also be grateful for what currently is, and what you have. So the card talks about, like, create connection. Like, if you want connection, create connection. I've seen this happen so many times, like when I've been talking with clients over the years, that they've said that either, like, some clients come in and say that they feel lonely, or no one understands them, or that they wish they had more friends, or like a community of people, or they want a partner. They want a relationship, that there's this desire that there's something they want to bring into their life. And I ask them, what have you tried so far? Because this is often what we talk about in coaching, is like, okay, where are you now? Where would you like to be? And what have you tried? What have you not tried? Like, what's worked? What hasn't worked? And we'll figure out a pathway through to that desired outcome, whilst also remembering what the gifts of the present moment. And so often I ask them that, and they are just hanging around waiting for people to contact them. And they haven't reached out at all. And this is the thing. I mean, like, of course, when you're in a time of feeling depressed or struggling with anxiety, like struggling with different emotions, then it can be really challenging to reach out, and it can feel like a huge hurdle to reach out and send a message to someone and say, hey, I'm struggling. And though by doing that, like really tapping into that strength, that resilience within that we all have, it's just sometimes we forget it's there. And by doing that, reaching out and saying, hey, like, are you free to chat? Do you want to chat? Or can we meet up? Like, this is one of the biggest things we can do to step forward and to step out of that situation that we might have been finding challenging. Another message, yes. What can I do when I'm in patience now, but then the timeline is over? Could be that I get nothing because I don't need it, but something else doesn't work. How can I speak? So I'm guessing that you want to know like about the how you can have patience now, and then worrying about whether you get it or not, or in the end you don't need it, and something else doesn't work. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but just let me know in the chat about communication towards people who work with me. Okay, so you want patience with people who you work with. Yeah, but it's not them. Yeah, I'm what your future is about. Okay, so you're unsure about what your future is about and that timeline. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm fully getting the question that you're asking, but I will just start talking. It's my work in progress, and yeah, this is the thing. Like we have this direction that we may have an idea of where we want to go to, and sometimes that's clear, sometimes that's not clear, sometimes it can feel a little bit confusing. And sometimes there can be a pivot. So along the way, we may be working towards something, and then suddenly we realize, that's not what I want. Or something shifts in our life and circumstances change, and then there's another opportunity or another area of growth to be there, to come up in your life. So you may be like, for example, you may think that you want a type of job and you work towards that, and then suddenly there's a pivot or something happens in your life and you realize that actually that's not what you want, and then something changes, and that's great to recognize that. Or that circumstances change and life brings another opportunity and something else becomes available to you. Like life is constantly inviting us. It's constantly inviting us. The thing is that most people are moving through life completely disconnected from the fact that we are able to interact with life constantly and every moment, all the time. Life is listening. And when we use this perspective, things can get very exciting and very interesting, and we can learn a lot about ourselves and learn about a lot about others, and really pick up on the clues on how we can move through and really live a soul-led life rather than only living according to the ego. So it's really interesting just to notice, like, okay, yeah, like, where am I headed? Where do I want to go? But also just like listening to life, like seeing life as a teacher. Like, what is life communicating to you right now? And sometimes there can be these repeated patterns. There can be these repeated struggles that come up. Maybe there's a certain thing that always pops up. Maybe there's a certain pattern in relationships or in the workplace or in different situations. And we can get curious, like, okay, there's a pattern here. What's the pattern? What is this teaching me? Do I need to work on my patience? Do I need to get clearer on what I want? Do I need to acquire new skills? Do I need to, like, whatever that is? And it's totally okay to bring in that flexibility. It's like having that discipline, that direction, but then also being flexible with that. So yeah, I don't know if I really answered that question because I wasn't sure about the question, what you're asking, but I hope that that helped some of that, like even just having this idea and this concept of that life is always listening, like life wants to guide us. I mean, this is something I mentioned in one of my podcast episodes, and this was one of the channeled expansions messages that I wrote about in an email a long time ago. Like I share it on my newsletter. Those of you who are not on my newsletter, you can join in there's a link in the description, and every month I share different messages that have come through me through my own personal practice, and these messages can be really insightful. And I did make a little short video about this months ago. This is probably about 7 months ago, and talking about how, like, the message that came through is that life wants to interact with us. Life wants to hold us, wants to nourish us, it wants to guide us, it wants to like offer everything. And often it's us, like trying to hold everything ourselves and thinking that we need to do everything ourselves, and we're struggling because we're there with the limitations of the mind, and we forget that when we just take a deep breath in and out, and we just start becoming more present with what is, and start becoming more aware of how life is the medicine, life is teaching us, things shift a lot. Okay, great. Yes, I did answer your question. Wonderful. So things can shift a lot. So it's like, okay, how can I see life as a teacher? Like, what is life teaching you right now? Well, like it goes to the question that I often mention, like, how is life inviting you to expand? How is life inviting you to expand right now? There's always an invitation, and doesn't mean we have to do it all the time, because sometimes it's perfectly okay to be in a moment of like, oh, I just want to like switch off and like watch a film, or not really think about things right now. It's perfectly human to have moments like that, and that's okay. It's just what you're doing constantly over a period of time. So let's do another card. Let's do another card, see what pops up. Okay, there seems to be a theme today. Must be what needs to come through. Things don't need to be perfect to be appreciated. What are you grateful for right now? Tap into the feeling of gratitude. So that's what we were talking about in the beginning. So I would just talk about the first couple of, like the first line, the first sentence, because that's something that didn't come up in the other card. So things don't need to be perfect to be appreciated. And this is often the case, that we think that we have to have something perfect, like it needs to be a certain way to, like, in a relationship, the person needs to do certain things, or we need to do certain things, or certain things need to be in place for it to be perfect. Or at work, things need to be perfect, or about ourselves, about our body image. That's a big one, especially for women, like things need to be perfect. Or when we're doing things for other people, like things need to be perfect. Like that, there can be this tendency, and this comes from a form of protection, and also like wanting control things. That there's very much an energy of control with perfectionism. It's like wanting to control, and underneath that energy of controlling is a fear. There's some underlying fear of rejection or fear of abandonment. And those can be very much childhood wounds, that the things that we've experienced in the past, that there's this old fear that gets triggered, and then we've learnt, one of the ways that we've adapted is to then become like a perfectionist and want everything to be perfect, so then we can feel loved, or so then we can feel safe, so then we can feel that we belong, so then we can fill in the blank. So just get curious, like if you notice, are there any areas that you're wanting to perfect things? And there's a difference between like learning, growing and evolving and improving things. That's great that we improve our skills and get better at things. We don't want to remain stagnant. Though also it's like finding that balance. Like, yes, we can improve things, we can get better at things. Though it's like remembering that things don't need to be perfect. It's like we're messy human beings, all of us. Like we're all messy, beautiful masterpieces. Like we've got our light and our shadow, we've got our humanness and that pure white light soul energy within as well. Like we have everything. And often when we're going through that behavior of perfectionism and wanting things to be perfect, we are focused on one layer or one level of ourselves, and we're forgetting the deeper core of who we are and why we're here. And it's just remembering, it's like, okay, what's behind this? Like, what's driving this? Every single behavior has some drive, has something fueling that behavior. Smokers, like if they struggle to give up smoking, there will be something driving that behavior, driving that habit. People who are perfectionists, there'll be something driving that. There'll be some underlying fuel for that. Like I mentioned before, like looking to feel safe or looking to feel a sense of love and belonging. And I often use the metaphor, I've mentioned it in other lives, I often use the metaphor of Sagrada Familia. So those of you in Barcelona or have been to Barcelona or have heard about Barcelona and Sagrada Familia, that huge building there that's still under construction, it's still not completed, there's still scaffolding everywhere, yet so many thousands and thousands and thousands of people visit it and appreciate it and love it, even though it's not complete. It's not perfect. So use that as a metaphor, use that as a reminder that things don't need to be perfect, things don't need to be completed in order to be appreciated. Things can be a work in progress, And yes, it's coming back to that humanness, that I think this is like when I work with clients with anxiety, this is often something that I remind them about, that often behind anxiety, there is this fear of the humanness, the fear of feeling, the fear of emotions, the fear of not being perfect, the fear of all these different things. Like it's just rewriting that story and remembering that it's okay to mess up. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not do things like how things like should be. Like often there's a lot of for a lot of people there is this childhood learnt behavior of being the good girl or the good boy, like really being the good child in order to feel loved. So it's like, what does that mean? Like, what did I have to do to feel loved? What did I have to, like, who did I have to be to feel loved? Like, these are really powerful questions that can bring up quite a lot. So if you ask yourself these questions, just like go kindly. And it's really interesting just to notice, like, what did you have to, what did you feel you had to do in order to feel loved? I've talked about it in some other lives, but I'll mention it again because like some of you might be new here for this story. Well, not a story, it's this real situation with a client many years ago. And this client, I asked these questions to this client, and they came to me initially because they were worried about work, that they were struggling at work. They always felt that they were holding themselves back and that they didn't know what to say. They felt stupid in front of the group. English was not their first language, so they were struggling with that as well. So they came to me for confidence boost in the sessions, and they really wanted to feel more confident and feel that they could do more things. or suggest more things and communicate more things in the meetings with the team. And I asked them these questions, and it was really interesting what came up, because we realized that they had this pattern of being the, like in the meetings at work, like they were sitting back and being quiet and not saying anything. So I asked those questions about who did you have to be in order to feel loved, in terms of the mother and the father. What did you have to do? Like, just finding out a little bit more, because I had an inkling, like I use my intuition a lot, and I had an inkling that there was something there. Often is the case that there's something there, and especially that for in this particular client, I had an inkling it came from the mother side. And the client said, "Oh, I had to be the quiet, good girl in order to feel loved and accepted and have a sense of belonging." And I was like, "Oh, isn't that interesting? Where else do you do that?" And they were like, "Oh, at work. I'm the quiet, good girl. I just sit back and don't say anything." So there they were. They came for these sessions, and they were wanting, like they were beating themselves up and thinking, "Oh, I'm not perfect. I'm not doing it right. I need to be more vocal. I need to ask more questions, blah, blah, blah." And they were giving themselves a hard time for not doing that. And then when they realized that actually they were simply underneath driving that behavior was simply a desire to feel loved and have a sense of belonging, they could be a lot more kinder to themselves. And they suddenly felt this like huge weight being lifted off, and they were like, "Oh, wow, yes." Like, that's where it comes from. And then whenever that came up at other moments at the workplace, they could treat themselves with a lot more kindness, and just simply just seeing it in a different light, and seeing, like bringing more kindness to themselves, they were able to start changing that pattern and start changing how they showed up at work. And rather than see themselves as stupid, they saw themselves as simply looking for a sense of love and belonging. And then from there, they felt a lot more empowered to then actually create a change and voice their opinions and their questions and things in the workplace. So then everything shifted after that. But it's just really interesting, like how powerful those questions can be, and especially about the perfectionism. Another question: can I also pick a card for something else, even if he's not here, but I want to work in peace in our relationship? So you want to pick a card for someone else? Okay, I can pick a card. I mean, I think you have a pack also. Like I can pick another card, though I would suggest that this card is for you, in order how you can deal with the situation, because at the end of the day, it's always about us. It's always about us. Okay, you did already. Yeah, it's always about it's coming back to us, like how we can navigate a challenging situation and how we can go about it, how we can learn from it, how we can grow from it. Yeah. Okay, I'll pick one more card, but this will be for you. Okay. And if anyone else wants a card pick for them, just pop it in the comment section. Okay. Learn from it and notice what changes. So whatever is coming up in your current situation, and yeah, often like we can perceive a current situation and we're like, "Oh, this needs changing," or "that needs to be different," or "I want something different," or you have expectations about something, or you want to bring something in. And yeah, there can be all these different thoughts about it. And the more we're focused on needing to change something versus what can I learn from it, there's a difference there. There's an important difference there. It doesn't mean that we can't change something, but often it's when we learn from it first, we just accept what it is. It's like, okay, yeah, it's challenging. What is it teaching me? That's what I was talking about before. Like, how is life inviting you to expand? Like, what's the gift? What's the lesson? So, what is life bringing to you? Like, what's the lesson? What's the insight? And then things start to transform from that perspective. I talk about it the same with emotions, like when I'm working with clients as well with anxiety or different emotions that they're struggling with. First, learn from it rather than rushing to change it. So it's like, I wonder. This is a great phrase to use. And you don't need to get the answer straight away, but just the words, I wonder. What can I learn from this? And then you just release attachment to needing any answers right now. It's like, I wonder, what can I learn from this? And then you just bring your attention to the present moment. And then you'll notice over the next few days, like if you have that question within your mind, the next few days and weeks, you'll get some insights for sure. So you can let me know what they are. Yeah, really the hardest one is not easy. It's not easy. This is, life can be beautiful, messy, challenging, like joyful, painful. Like it can be so many things. And yeah, certain situations are not easy. They can be very challenging. And the very fact that they're like, I like to use the perspective of the very fact that you are in a current situation and there's something there going on means that you have all the strength and all the skills and all the ability to move through it. So trust yourself, believe in yourself. So if anyone else wants a card, just let me know. I can pick one for you. In the meantime, I will talk about what's coming up. So this week, there's a couple of events coming up, a very full week. So on Thursday in Barcelona, those of you who are in the area, there's a women's circle, and this is going to be all about the sisterhood wound. So if you've felt jealousy with other women, if you've like struggled building friendships, if you want to have deeper community and be in community with women, this will be a wonderful opportunity. So that's Thursday, the 21st at 6:30, and that will be in Barcelona. So there's a link in the description. And then on Friday, there's an event that's open to all, not just women, so open to everyone. And Friday, we'll be looking at embodied numerology, and it's all about coming into the body and really finding what messages the numbers are offering us and what insights we can gain about ourselves and our masks and our ego and our gifts and all these different things, what we can learn. And we do that through movement and through dance, because it's all very well learning things here, but when we bring it into the body, when we reconnect to the breath and we like really move with that, and we find the difference in the play and the insight between the structure and the flow, or the being with yourself or connecting with other people, the balance, the giving and receiving, all these topics we explore. So that's on Friday. And again, the link is in the description. And that's something that the people who have come to the previous classes have loved it. Like they've really enjoyed it and they found it really beneficial. And it's brought up a lot of insights for them. And yeah, so that's on Friday. So yes, those are some events coming up. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining this class today. If there are no more questions, just let me know. So I'll be here for a few more seconds. So like, if there are any questions, just pop it in the chat. If you want a card picked, then pop it in the chat. You are welcome. You are so welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. It really makes this a lot more enjoyable to have it interactive, because I spent so many lives talking to myself, even though the people enjoyed the replays, but it's really nice to have people joining in live. So it makes a difference, and it means that you get the opportunity to get some free support and coaching as well, because you can ask all the questions. So yeah, so this Thursday, Women's Circle, and then Friday, we've got dancing, and there'll be more stuff coming up. So I'll be back on Monday here with another class. If you have any particular topics, any particular things that you want me to talk about, I do love hearing your like questions and your feedback, and like finding out what you want me to talk about. I have many topics up my sleeve, but it's always interesting to hear what people want me to talk about. And I also do one-on-one sessions as well. So one-on-one sessions are available worldwide. Do them online. Also do them in person, both in Vilanova, i Geltrú, and also in Barcelona. So one-on-one sessions is where we can go into things a lot more deeply and really dive into all of the belief work. And that's a mixture of NLP, hypnosis, and embodiment practices and numerology and all of that. So I blend a lot of things together, and it makes it really powerful. So do you have a topic about making life decisions when fear of change is involved? That's something I have talked about decisions a long time ago, but that's actually something I could go into more depth. I'll make a note of that for the next class, and to go into that more depth, just to give an insight briefly now. So when we're making life decisions, often what's the case is that we try to make decisions from here, from the mind, rather than truly feeling into the body and what the body is talking about as well. So it's like, okay, yeah. So for example, there's A and B. There's different options. Like maybe there's a decision you're trying to make and there's different options. So A and B. And often that we get stuck in this loop of going, okay, A or B, or A or B. And then the mind is just going round and around and around, and we're noticing different stories being attached to those options. What if? What will happen? What will they say? Will they be upset? Or what will this mean? Or think like the fear, you're talking about the fear of change. So there can be all these stories that pop up with that. And then the emotions are connected to that. So it's really important to get back into the body. So we want to learn from the stories, pay attention to them, and notice what's coming up, because we can learn from that, can give us useful information. But it's important to get back into the body and to really notice, like, how does my body feel? I was talking about this with some friends just the other week, and I was talking about how I've been in this country, in Spain, for 12 years or more, probably maybe like 13 years now. And as you can probably tell, I'm from the UK originally. And before moving here, I was like umming and ahhing. I was like, okay, do I go to Spain? Do I stay in the UK? Spain, UK, Spain. And there were all these stories that I had attached, and there were fears as well. And what I did is I almost did like a little rehearsal, like within my mind, like, okay, I've chosen this. And then I would just notice my body, like, how did my body feel? And then I would switch the option and be like, okay, I've chosen this, option B. How does my body feel? And I would flip between the two and notice if there was any difference, and notice if there was one that felt a bit more expansive and one that felt a bit more contractive. So that's a starting point, but that's something I can go into a bit more depth in future classes. So I will make a note of that. So yes, thank you so much for being here, everyone, for joining in, and for really, like all your questions, all your queries, all of your feedback as well. That's wonderful. And I'll be back here next Monday at 7. And there'll be more shares. And yeah, please do spread the word as well. Like if you notice that any friends struggling or people that need some free support, then just send them that my way if you think this is something that they would find beneficial. So thank you so much. I wish you a wonderful week. Thank you for being you, and keep connecting to those gifts within the present moment.